Good evening and welcome to your practice here on our mats tonight. So we are going to want a couple props with us this evening. A bolster, if you don't have a bolster at home, then rolled up towels or blankets can make a really good bolster alternative, or just a couple pillows. And then if you have blocks at home, you may want blocks. Again, if you don't have blocks, rolled up towels, blankets can make really good alternative props. So we are going to be working on some heart opening today in our practice and focusing a little bit on the heart chakra and diving in a little bit deeper there. So we're going to begin our practice in a nice heart open position in a supported fish. So grabbing for either your bolster or blocks. You can just bring their prop underneath of our backs and then laying ourselves back open over our support here. The arms can stretch alongside the body, maybe draw the shoulders down and back, opening the chest, and just allow the legs to be wherever they want to be. If you want some opening through the hips, we can invite soles of feet together. I sometimes like to use my blocks or another prop to the outside of the knees. Here in a nice supported hip opener position. Wherever we are, we're just going to begin to let the body settle down into the props and into the mat. Alternatively, if you're not working with props or you just want to lay on your mat with a nice open chest, you could choose that position as well. And let's slowly begin to connect in with our breathing. So finding nice, long, slow breaths in. Long, slow breaths out. Allowing the whole body to settle down a little further, a little bit deeper into the mat space. And seeing if we can focus specifically on letting a little bit extra heaviness go through the chest. So letting those shoulders drop down a little further. Even thinking of a gentle lift of the upper chest. Let's begin to think about drawing our breath up and down the midline of the body. Connecting in with our energy body, our energetic centers. And we'll be diving a little bit deeper, as I mentioned, into opening through the heart and the heart chakra today. And I won't go too in depth into the whole chakra system, although there is a chakra course coming soon. But our chakra system is basically like the neurological system of our emotional body. So it's sort of what controls or directs or navigates the energetic body, just like our neurological system does for our physical bodies. And there's 7 main energy centers within the boundaries of the physical body. The first is right at the root or the base of the spine. Second is our sacral, right in the center of the pelvis. The third is the solar plexus, located just below the base of the rib cage. And then the fourth is the heart chakra, located at the center of the chest, just above the physical placement of the heart. The fifth is our throat chakra at the front of the throat. And the sixth is right at the center of the brow, the third eye chakra. And then the 7th is at the crown of the head, the crown chakra. So the lower 3 chakras really work to kind of connect us physically with our world and our surroundings. And the upper 3 chakras work to kind of connect us with that higher being, the universe, others. So kind of connected with more, maybe more or less a spiritual world would be a good descriptor there. And then the heart chakra is kind of the anchor between the two. So when we work with the heart chakra, when we work with any chakras, we're also working with others. But when we're working with the heart, we're inevitably having an impact on the chakras below and above and kind of drawing them together. So we're just going to stay in our supported fish for a couple more breaths. Maybe beginning to draw a little more awareness to that space, center of the chest. Just begin to notice what's happening for you there today. When we shift our awareness here, what do we notice physically? What do we notice mentally? And what do we notice emotionally? Also noting what we notice energetically. Without any judgment, we're just simply observing what's happening there, accepting ourselves as we are right in this moment. Let's find 2 more big deep breaths here. Drawing the hands to the outer edges of the knees. If you've chosen that hip open position, we can support the legs back together. And if the legs are extended long, just beginning to slide the heels up the mat space. You can shift any props that we've been using over to the side. And then just rolling off our mat onto our side bodies. You can pause here for a breath or 2. And then using our arms, let's support ourselves up towards a seated position here on our mats. Just sliding any props out of the way. And then we're going to take ourselves all the way over to a tabletop position. So moving over to hands and knees. And we want to feel really comfortable and supported in this position. So if the wrists are feeling sensitive, we can always slip onto fists here. If we need extra cushioning under the knee, just place something under the knees. And we're going to start to move through some cat-cow. Before we got there, we're going to just really connect in with this space in our chest. So leaving the hips as they are, we're going to begin just by lowering the chest through the shoulders. And then pressing into the palms, allowing the shoulder blades to guide away from one another. As we inhale, we're going to just drop the chest through the shoulders. Shoulder blades come together. And then press into the hands. We're going to lift the heart space back up and allow those shoulder blades to slide away from one another on the back. Let's just find one more here. Good. So if this feels really good, feel free to stay here with this more subtle movement, really working that space around the heart. If you want to move into full cat-cow, give yourself permission to go there as well, just being really mindful to continue with this movement. So if I'm finding my full cat-cow, I'm going to drop the belly, lengthen up through the front body, drop the chest, draw the shoulders down and back, maybe lift the chin, lengthening through the front of the throat. And then I'm going to begin to tuck that tailbone rounding through. As I get to that shoulder girdle, I'm going to let those shoulder blades slide away from one another, really lifting the heart. Chin comes to chest, crown of head hangs heavy. Good. So just moving here at your own pace and rhythm. Close the eyes if that feels safe for you. And just taking a moment to really feel what's happening in your body, in your mind, your heart, what's going on with your energy. If you're practicing at home and you're not alone, maybe there's pets or other humans there with you, just allow yourself to let go of feeling kind of pulled away by any distractions there, unless it's an emergency, obviously. But just giving yourself the permission to be present in your practice, no matter what's happening around you. So move through a few more rounds, a few more breaths. You can always find a child's pose if the wrists are feeling sensitive, or you just want a little stillness. You can also feel free to linger in either one of the shapes. So maybe choosing that heart open position for a couple of breaths. And then maybe choosing that rounded position for a couple breaths. Meeting back in our tabletop position, we're going to begin to move into a supported child's pose. So you can choose the knees to be close together or walk them a little wider. Sitting the hips right back to the heels, and then reaching for either a block or that blanket or bolster. Now let's begin to melt the forehead down to the prop, making sure that the neck and the spine feel really supported. We're just lifting the forehead up off the mat. Gives us a little more space to allow that heart to melt down. And the arms can really rest wherever is comfortable. I usually like to keep them close, kind of cradling onto the block. But if you want to extend them out long overhead, maybe getting a little bit more opening in the underarm, you're welcome to find that shape. So letting the hips feel heavy back towards the heels. The forehead resting heavy to whatever prop is there supporting you. If you don't have props handy, you could also just use a stacked fist or one fist. And letting that heart rest heavy down towards the mat space. Just inviting any tension to go that's being held or harbored around the heart space, the heart chakra. The heart chakra is all about love. And it's about connection. But it's about that love and connection that actually begins within. So the relationship we have with ourselves first, and then moving outward to the relationship that we have with others. Knowing that they're very connected. The deeper relationship we have with ourselves, the more we're able to accept ourselves, the deeper we're able to find connection with others. And the chakras are often depicted as like spinning wheels of energy, kind of moving in one direction, but I like to think of them almost like a globe that's kind of spinning around in all types of directions. So you kind of visualize whatever feels best for you there. And oftentimes when our chakras are out of balance. We'll hear that a lot, or my chakras are out of balance. Or if you begin to look into them a little more, that's often referenced. But when they're out of balance, it can sometimes mean too much of something, not enough of something, a blockage, or a combination of all of those things. And I think each one of us has our own balance. So my balanced heart chakra is going to look a little bit differently than someone else's. So it's getting quiet enough to inquire within, to recognize what we need and what that balance means for us. Let's take a couple more breaths here in our supported child's. And bringing the hands underneath the shoulders. Let's inhale as we press ourselves gently up out. For child's pose, we can find our way back to our tabletop, or maybe just sit back to the heels for a couple breaths. Maybe a little roll through the shoulders, click or a pop. That feels good. Just take a moment to bring that awareness once again to the center of the chest. And then walking those hands back out in front of us. We're going to make our way to a supported puppy dog pose or melted heart pose. So again, you can use either blocks or bolster. This time we're going to keep the hips nice and high, stacked over the knees, and just begin to walk those hands out away from you. So again, you can rest the head to a block or to a bolster. Another way we can dive in a little bit deeper here is actually to take blocks. The foam ones can be a little bit rocky, but if you've got cork ones, they can be more stable. But we can actually take the forearms to the blocks and kind of melt ourselves down here. Maybe the forehead can find its way right to the mat. Just making sure that there's no pinching through the spine or the shoulders if you're choosing this little bit deeper variation. So just an option. I'm going to take that block under the forehead because it just feels really good. So again, those arms can be extended long out in front here, or we can keep them nice and close. Beginning to connect with the breath. So what we might notice if we're feeling kind of blocked within our heart chakra, we're feeling like we're maybe a little bit understimulated here, maybe spinning a little bit slowly or guarded. It's just maybe not fully experiencing our emotions, or maybe not giving ourselves that space to feel what we're feeling. We might feel like we have a difficult time connecting with others or kind of deepening within our relationships. We might find ourselves being really judgmental of both ourselves and others. Not really accepting, and maybe a need to kind of control some of the spaces we're in or the relationships we're in. Thinking of this as being kind of guarded with our heart. If we were thinking into sort of like a romantic concept, maybe it's kind of keeping people at arm's length, but it's not just in romantic concept that our heart is involved and that love is involved. So it can even be in our friendships or relationship with our families, maybe just keeping everyone at arm's length and not really letting anyone in. And we'll often kind of move to this subconsciously if something's hurt us, when we haven't fully processed it. We can also feel kind of blocked if we're overanalyzing and living in the past. So things that have happened and we're feeling hurt or they're really painful for us, but we don't give ourselves the permission to kind of move forward or let some of that go, and we end up sort of stuck in that space. We can feel pretty blocked through the heart chakra. So if you're feeling like this, first and foremost, do not criticize yourself. Just acknowledging that you're maybe feeling a little bit blocked and holding that compassion and love. And simply just that can help you to open things up a little bit deeper, a little bit more. So just it's all comes back to love and compassion and forgiveness. And if we're feeling a little excessive in our heart chakra space, or maybe a little bit too opened, this can be when we feel maybe like we don't have any boundaries. We're feeling very taken advantage of in relationships in our life, whether personal or even professional relationships. So just kind of lacking that ability to have boundaries, where we're worrying more about everyone else and not thinking about ourselves at all. Just constantly giving and pouring energy and not taking any time to tend within. So again, if we're feeling a little bit like that or a lot like that, try not to judge. Just simply acknowledge holding love and compassion. And then recognizing that we can feel both kind of blocked and excessive at the same time, where we're feeling really guarded and wanting to constantly pour our energy everywhere else, but not opening ourselves to receiving any love and compassion and energy connection from others around us. So again, if we're feeling that way, don't judge, just simply notice. We're going to gently make our way out of this puppy dog pose. We can bring those hands back in close and begin to press ourselves up. And just moving our prop off to the side. Whenever I come out of puppy, I usually like to sway a little side to side, maybe a couple cat-cows. It's helping to shift any energy we've sort of unearthed or unlocked here. Allowing things to flow, to move, to shift. And then walking those hands out a little bit further in front of the shoulders, finding a plank position. Let's begin to lower all the way down to the mat space. And a couple of options here. We can work into our Sphinx position, drawing the forearms down to the mat, palms flat, shoulders down and back, and kind of lifting through the heart. If we want to take a more restorative variation, or if there's any discomfort here in this shape, we can just come right down to the mat, stacking palms and resting our forehead here. And just a little mini back bend. If we're wanting a little more height, we can use one of those props just to lift the floor up. So here we want to think about allowing the hips to be really heavy, rooting into the mat. And then thinking about lengthening all the way from the pubic bone up through the front of the body. Just beginning to connect in with your breath. Something I find very powerful when I'm working with chakras is to use mantra. One of my favorite ones to use when my heart is feeling a little bit off kilter is very simple but powerful. I am love and I am loved. A reminder to ourselves that each and every one of us at our very core is made from pure love. And that we're so loved by this universe, by this consciousness, that each and every one of us is loved by others in this world. Those that are still in our lives and those that maybe aren't. For maybe feeling a little disconnected from self or not fully worthy of love, a mantra we could use is I am worthy of love. Just repeating that reminder to yourself. Which can help dissolve some of the blocks we may be building around the heart to try and guard us from pain. But knowing that when we are doing that, we're also blocking ourselves from feeling that joy, that connection. If you're lifted right up into your Sphinx position, then just slowly release down to that stacked palms, forehead resting position. We'll all meet here for about 5 breaths or so. Maybe repeating that mantra, your chosen mantra, over and over to yourself. Giving yourself that reminder as much as you need. To release the judgment of ourselves and others. And allow forgiveness to move through us. Forgiveness for ourselves and others. Opening ourselves to giving and receiving love. In a healthy, nourishing way. Begin to open a little bit deeper, one side at a time here. So allowing yourself to come right down to the mat space. We're going to stretch our right arm out away from us at shoulder height, palms facing down. And then begin to press to that left palm as we revolve ourselves. Open onto the right side body. So beginning to really open into that right shoulder. We can leave the left leg stacked on top of right. We can bend that left knee, bringing it in front of the right leg, or we can step that left foot back behind that right leg. If we're feeling a lot of pressure, we can just walk the right fingertips down a little bit away from shoulder height, so a little bit closer to the body. Can be a little bit more supportive position for that shoulder. And then we want to make sure the neck feels really supported. So I usually like to take my opposite hand tucking under the head like a little pillow. You can feel free to use any props that you have handy here. Inviting those shoulders down the back, opening the heart space here. There's also an option to take that left hand right up towards the left hip, or maybe reaching around the small of the back, finding a little bit more opening through the front body. Let's breathe into that heart space. Inviting in flow and movement. Inviting in balance and alignment. And giving yourself the permission to explore what balance and alignment means for you. Because as we learn to accept ourselves as we are, accept ourselves, including our little flaws and perceived imperfections, it opens up this capacity to begin to accept others exactly as they are. To let go of the idea that others should be perfect. And this isn't to say that boundaries are not necessary, because they're very much a part of a balanced heart chakra. But it just allows us to more clearly see what is our responsibility and what is others. We're going to slowly begin to unravel, so inching really gently out of the shape. Coming right back to the belly. Maybe take a moment in that stacked palms position once again. Just breathe here. And then let's send that left arm out away from us. Bringing the right hand under the shoulder and beginning to press ourselves open to the left side. Again, if we're feeling a lot of pressure here through the front of the shoulder, just bring the arm a little closer into the body. You can tuck that right hand under the head, or we can bring it to the hip or even along the small of the back, just to open up a little bit more through the chest space. Seeing if we can open that chest a little bit more. So just drawing those shoulders down and back. We'll find a couple more breaths here. And slowly making our way back onto our bellies. Bringing the hands under the forehead to make a little pillow here. And drawing the hands under the shoulders, let's begin to press ourselves back up through kneeling. And sweeping the hips over to one side, come through seated. We're going to get ready to head into our resting position on our backs. So I'll encourage you to find a nice heart open position again. So if you're working with a bolster, maybe finding that supported fish position that we found at the beginning of our practice. You could also use a block under the back, maybe one under the head if that feels okay. Always an alternative to just find whatever position feels comfortable for you as we find a little meditation here. But just take a few moments to allow yourself to get as comfortable as you possibly can. Allowing that heart space to feel open. Allowing those shoulder blades to slide down the back. Just drawing them a little closer together, finding that little bit more space through the chest, through the heart. Let's start to bring our awareness inward. So beginning to allow ourselves to let go of what's happening around us. Drawing the awareness right to the center of the head. If you feel yourself distracted or pulled away during our meditation, just bring yourself back here. Without judgment, just simple redirection. And slowly beginning to draw the awareness down to our heart chakra. Center of the chest, our emotional center of love, connection, compassion. Without judgment, notice how you're feeling in this space. Observe what's happening for you. Notice if things are feeling slow or stuck or heavy. Maybe noticing if things are feeling really guarded, like there's a stone fence all around the space. Again, without judgment, knowing that however you're feeling right now, you were brought to this place, this feeling, as a means of trying to protect yourself. Or if you're feeling really heavy and guarded or blocked, just giving ourselves a permission to let some of that go. Maybe giving yourself the permission to feel safe enough to shed some of that heaviness, to let go of some of those walls. Giving ourselves a permission to experience our emotions. Knowing that emotions are part of our human experience. That they are meant to come and they are meant to go. That we're here to feel all of the things. Because we are here to learn and to grow. As we bring awareness here to the heart center, let's invite in the color green, whatever that means for you. And if you feel like things are maybe spinning wildly here, feeling chaotic or a little bit out of control, a little all over the place, just give yourself the permission to rein that in a little bit. Kind of like taming a wild horse. Not to the point of it being submissive or completely penned in. Allowing it to run and feel free, but also allowing it to feel calm and connected within. Allowing ourselves to be open to give and receive the love that you deserve, that we all deserve. Also allowing ourselves to hold the boundaries we need to honor our own energy. Finding what balance in the heart chakra means for you. And inviting that alignment to flow. I am love, and I am loved. I open myself to give and receive the love I deserve, but to hold the boundaries necessary to honor my energy. I am love, and I am loved. I open myself to give and receive the love I deserve. While holding boundaries necessary to honor my energy. Continuing to hold awareness, the heart center. Inviting in your balance, your alignment into this fourth chakra, the Anahata chakra. And I'll encourage you to stay here as long as you desire, as long as you feel drawn to be here in this space, allowing that love and that energy to flow and to shift. Whenever you're ready to come out, just gently bringing awareness back to the center of the head before drawing it outwards. And being sure to take your time, being gentle and moving with love and compassion. Thank you so much for joining me here this evening. The divine love within me, within my heart chakra, sees and honors that divine love within you, within your heart chakra. Namaste.